Hey y'all, welcome back to Dee's Corner. Now in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to a video called The Truth Show in which she made about Selena Perez and her sister Suzette Quintanilla, insert picture here, about was their relationship neutral or was it jealousy? And I have a few things to say about that, in which, like I always do when I do videos like this, I'm going to play some of the video and I'm going to pause in between and give my thoughts and stuff like that. Now, if y'all know to date with what happened, like recently on March the 31st, it was the 25th anniversary of Selena's death and stuff like that. And yeah, I think this video had came out around that time. So I'm just gonna be reacting to it. So let's get into this. Again, it's by a channel called The Truth Show, which I'm gonna link it down below. It says Selena and Suzette Quintanilla relationship, was it neutral or jealousy?
This video is not for kids. This may contain cussing, suggestive themes, and or triggering topics. Anything said in this video is alleged and not to be taken seriously. This video nor channel does not promote or encourage illegal activities. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107.
Even though it's going fast right now, she has said anything said in this video is alleged and not to be taken seriously. So allegedly some of this stuff happened, like it's not to be factual.
Of the Copyright Act 1976, although it's made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is as use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tip the balance in favor of fair use. And warning again, the following images and or content may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Hello all, welcome to The Truth Show. In this video, I will be talking about the strained relationship between Suzette and Selena Quintanilla. This is something that was brought to my attention. Selena's birthday is coming up in April, and I think something just got released. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, she just been
in which I do have the book in my room as we speak. And here's what I think about what this lady's reading. I do think that Suzette probably did develop a crush on Chris because, at the time he had joined the band, Selena, she was barely 18 years old. Like, she was still a little girl and stuff like that. And he had said in the book that he had hung around Suzette more and stuff like that, and they were only friends. Like, she would sometimes laugh at his jokes and stuff like that. And I do believe that, maybe Suzette did develop a crush on Chris, but, it was always professional. Like, they didn't hook up or anything like that. And maybe, just maybe, like, her dad was a little suspicious about Chris and Selena seeing each other and stuff like that. And maybe he probably told Suzette, like, hey, Suzette, I want you to keep an eye on them to make sure he's not trying to get fresh with Selena and make out with her, stuff like that. And maybe she served as like a little spy for Abraham to keep an eye on them. And maybe on that particular day and stuff like that, she got on the bus and had assumed something, and she walked off and told Abraham, and Abraham came back and had confronted Chris. Like, that's just what I think happened. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I'm just saying, like, that's what I think happened. She served as a little spy for Abraham to keep an eye on Selena. That's what I think.
Swung open again. This time it was Abraham. He climbed the steps but stopped near the driver's seat, staring straight at me. Chris, can you come here for a second? He asked. He appeared calm, but his mouth was set and his voice was hoarse from either fatigue or tension. Sure. I got up from the table, alarm bells sounding in my head. What's going on? Selena asked. I shrugged and followed her father. By the time I reached the top of the bus steps, Abraham was standing on the ground again, just waiting. His dark eyes were hard and his shoulders were pulled back. What was going on? We had performed in Houston the night before. Abraham had been paid for that show in cash and had somehow rushed out of the hotel room in the morning without retrieving his briefcase full of money from under the bed. By the time he remembered, we were already setting up for the show in El Campo. Abraham decided to borrow a car from my friend Carlos, whose band was opening for us that night, so that he could race back to Houston, feverishly hoping that by some stroke of luck the money would still be there. It was thankfully. Still, I reminded myself that this mishap had caused Abraham to miss our show in El Campo, and had probably made him even more exhausted and irritable than he usually was, particularly since he had nobody to blame for that mistake but himself. As I joined him on the street, I ticked off every other possible reason that Abraham might feel compelled to call me aside like this. 2. None of the reasons seemed like good ones. Had I said or done something to set him off? Abraham was certainly angry. He started to walk away, his shoulders hunched forward and his hands balled into fists, thinking, oh, man, please don't let him try to do anything. I followed him toward the back of the bus, where the generator was making a loud clacking sound. Suddenly Abraham stopped so fast that I nearly ran into him. He wheeled around and pointed a finger at me. Suzette just told me that she walked onto the bus and saw you and Selena holding hands, he said. I don't know what's going on with you guys, but whatever it is, stops right now. I remained silent as Abraham continued to yell and jab his finger in my direction, trying to intimidate me. And one more thing, he finished. If you say a single word about this conversation to Selena, I will deny it and she's going to believe me. What had made Suzette say something to him? To this day, I have no idea. It was probably just a rift between sisters. Nothing serious, just a bad mood. Chris went on to say that he told Abraham he'll stay away from Selena, just to keep the peace. However, afterwards, he told Selena that Suzette told her father about them, and Selena was ready to go after Suzette, but Chris stopped her. Days after that, things were intense, and Suzette and AB was giving him the cold shoulder, and especially Suzette. I mean, AB was just trying to not pick sides. I mean, think about it. From Suzette's point of view, you were always overlooked, heck.
Okay, if you heard what she said, like, Abraham had confronted Chris and stuff like that, and he had agreed that he'd stay away from Selena to keep the peace and stuff like that. And he had told Selena about it, and Selena was ready to go after Suzette, but Chris had stopped her and stuff like that. And I just want to say this: you like what you like. If Chris likes Selena, Selena like Chris, like, for God's sakes, let them be together. I mean, they're of age where they're consenting adults. Like, for God's sakes, just let them be together. But I can see why that, he wanted Selena to stay away from Chris, because at the time, Chris was kind of like a little bad boy, if you will, and stuff like that. He kind of like the punk rock bad boy and stuff like that. And he felt like, oh, he's just some bum musician that's just going to use her for her money and drain her for what it's worth. But Chris wasn't like that. He was a good guy, all of that. Like, he wrote a book about her and stuff like that. Like, he's a good guy. They lived together, had a nice home and stuff like that. He was a nice, homely man. Like, he wasn't like that. I just feel like, just because Chris represented like a little bad boy image, like, he wanted Chris to stay away from Selena, but, he wasn't that type of guy. He wasn't out to ruin her or anything.
Everyone, and your little sister got all the attention, love and all. And then she turned around and got married to a dude that you liked. I read that she married Bill Arriaga, may I mispronounce his last name, a year after Selena married Chris Perez in 1992. You see, did you all?
And fun fact, for those of you that don't know, Selena and Chris had eloped because, like I had said, Abraham really didn't approve of their relationship, and they went out and had eloped. So, yeah, they didn't have like a real big ceremony, so like that. They had went out and had eloped because, Abraham tried to break them up and they weren't having it. So, yeah.
Also know that Suzette wanted a career in music even after Selena's death, and she was starting to pursue it until her father made her work as a manager at Selena's museum. She once again had to put her dreams on hold. I was told that Suzette had to stop going to school at some point while they were on the road. Their family don't talk about that, of course, and they kept that out of the movie. If you didn't notice that, Selena and she did fight a lot. The movie, if you didn't see, made Suzette look like an angelic beacon of hope. And it's a bear of laughs. That was so far from the truth. She did support her sister, but not to the extreme that.
If you heard what she had said that Suzette also wanted to pursue a career in music, but she had to put it on hold because of, Abraham wanted her to be a manager in the Selena Museum, which is a real museum in Corpus Christi, Texas. Insert picture here. That basically shows all Selena's merchandise, like her concert outfits, all that stuff. Like, it just basically is like a legacy to Selena. So she had put her music career on hold to be a manager in the Selena Museum. And I just want to say this. To the Truth Show, if you're watching this, I'm not trying to bash you or anything, but like she had said at the beginning of this video, this stuff is 100% alleged, like it's not true. But I just want to say this, like, I feel like some of these facts you got wrong, because I just want to say this. All of a sudden, she wanted to pursue a music career, like, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, what proves these facts wrong is common sense. Like, all of a sudden she wanted to pursue a music career. Like, she could have easily declined the offer of being the manager in the Selena Museum to tell her father, like, look, I love Selena, but it's been so long, I just want to move on from that and just pursue my own dreams. Like, you could have brushed it off, declined the offer, and just went on about your day, and your name would have been up in lights too, but you didn't do that. Or if she felt some type of way back then, she had to, because like she had said that Suzette had to, quit school for a while to support Selena. And if you felt some type of way like that back then, you could have told them back then, like, look, I love doing this with Selena, but I want to branch out on my own, do my own thing, etc. And they probably would have understood. You could have went on about your day, your name would have been up in lights, and they could have replaced you with another drummer. But you didn't do that. So that's where you kind of have to side out the situation. Like, how come she ain't came out back in the day and claimed she wanted to start a music career and do all this stuff? Like, why now?
Making it seem like that movie that was completely false. And I'm not saying that that she didn't love her sister. I'm sure she did. And Selena may have thought everything was copacetic and good with her sister Suzette. Just occasional argument, that's it. Hey, if you look at their childhood pictures, you will see that at some point Suzette was looking like she was sprouting out really nicely. But as time went on and she had to constantly put her dreams on the back burner for her sister Selena, while her brother B did what they wanted and, made all of this kind of money, she had to be more submissive though. So she ate her feelings. The famous Selena got, the more Suzette ate, which brings us to where we're at today. Most of the time she's wearing black. Upon Selena getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, they purposely didn't add Selena's last name, Selena Quintanilla Perez, which was her legal name before she passed away. And the reason for not doing it sounded very bitter. This is what she said. Selena Quintanilla, birth given name that the world got to know as simply Selena, will have her Hollywood Walk of Fame star for all to look upon and hopefully remember when I'm gone. Okay. She captioned in the video. Anyway, then later she posted herself on the exercise bike, claiming to be releasing some emotional buildup. Now, just reading it, you would think, oh, how sweet. But let's really read it without that mindset, but a neutral and no knowledge of who these people are. Okay? Morning. Well, today is the day. Burning off some emotional buildup. If anyone think this is easy for us, you stay.
So, like she said, Selena, she does have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but it only says Selena Quintanilla, which is her birth given name. It doesn't say Selena Quintanilla Perez, which was her legal last name because she was married to Chris. So I feel like there probably is some tension there between her and Chris because maybe she probably did develop feelings for Chris and he probably didn't see her that way. She's probably still bitter about it up to this day. I don't know. But it's just kind of fishy. Like, how come they didn't put Perez on there? Why did they just put Selena Quintanilla? Like, maybe there's still some tension there.
And to be corrected, my friends, I will stand alongside my family and friends and all the super fans that continue to love her and look up to her. Selena Quintanilla, birth given name that the world got to know as simply Selena, will have her Hollywood Walk of Fame star for all to look upon and hopefully remember when I'm gone, all of you Buffy. Watch out, world. Today belongs to Selena and all who love her. Now, I'm noticing in some statements, I don't know if she's just paraphrasing it and trying to speak on her sister's behalf by speaking in a second or third person sense, but I'm starting to think that she's starting to think she is her sister, but that'd be a whole nother psychological level. I have read cases like that, but let me just keep reading here. Now, just reading it, as I stated, you would say, oh, how darling and sweet and empathize. But look how it starts off and then ends. Keywords, she refers to her sister as her. And she say, look up to her. And then she ends it with a standard answer. Honestly, it's kind of weird, but what it sounds to me is like she just gave an answer that everyone expects her to say. You all have to understand, and I just said this, Suzette had to put her life on hold for her sister. Even now, it still continues and is the main source of her income now. Her Instagram is drowned with merch and product about Selena. I mean, you would start to think that she think herself as Selena at some point. Like, who is Suzette? You're living your sister's.
Here's what I think. Like she had said, like, I'm beginning to think that she thinks she is her sister because if you see her Instagram is flooded with stuff about Selena, in which I'm gonna insert Suzette Quintanilla's Instagram handle somewhere here, but I haven't personally been to her Instagram page, but from looking at it and stuff like that, like, it's just basically like things about Selena, like the 25th anniversary, the Selena Matte collection that came out some time ago, etc., etc. But as far as Suzette, quote unquote, wanting to be Selena, I don't think that's it. Because if that was the case, she probably would have altered her body to make herself look like Selena, got lip injections, all that stuff to make herself look like Selena. And allegedly, her wanting to start a music career, she probably would take vocal class to make herself sound like Selena, etc. I think it's more so she just wants to keep her sister's legacy alive. It's not like she want to be Selena or anything. But at the same time, the truth show, she does make a valid point. Like, who is Suzette Quintanilla? It's just like everything on your Instagram is Selena this, Selena that. Who are you? Everybody knows who Selena is. Who are you? Like, let yourself shine for a little bit. Like, Selena had her time to shine. Let yourself shine a little bit. And like she had said, allegedly, Suzette had to put her life on hold for her sister. And if you felt some type of way, Suzette, you could have came out years ago and told them, like, look, I love doing this with Selena, but it's time for me to go my own way and do your own thing. And they would have had a new drummer in your place, but you didn't do that. So, yeah.
Life, her dreams. Even though you are coming across as supporting your sister, but are you supporting your sister, or do you sometimes think you are your sister? This is your time to shine, even though you're Suzette, but you're doing it on her expense. I'm just saying. So even when she's dead, Abraham and his sidekick Suzette is still banking off Selena. And then they got to nerve to stop Chris Perez from making a little small TV series about his life with his late wife Selena. Afraid of the truth? Huh? I don't know. And Abraham being exposed, probably. I read in this book on how Chris had to pump the brakes, and I said this in the video before about Selena, had to pump the brakes on how much he used to work Selena to death. And he had to honestly tell him, if you keep this up, you will burn her out. I also read about the loud argument Selena and Abraham had that left at some point, whereas Selena had collapsed on the floor in tears and frustration, and Selena not able to wait, just couldn't wait to get rid of her father as her manager. Did you all know that she wanted to do that at some point? Selena was ready to fire her father. Did you all know that? Selena, let me say it again, was ready to fire her father prior to her death. This is what Abraham was afraid of, losing his golden goose to Chris. Yeah, that's what he's afraid of. So that's why he tries to block everything Chris does.
You heard her correctly. I also read that too about Chris wanting to turn his book To Selena with Love into a biopic because after all, it was a story about him and his relationship with Selena. And Abraham Quintanilla had took out a lawsuit against that to stop it from happening. And that kind of makes me side-eye him like, are there some things you don't want the public to know about? Are you afraid of being exposed? Like, what gives? And I do feel like that the Quintanilla family, they do genuinely love Selena. They did love Selena. But at the same time, I do feel like that there's some skeletons in the closet because why would you want to stop Chris from... That's my phone. Why would you want to stop Chris from turning his life story with Selena into a biopic to support her? Why would you do that? That makes me side eye the whole situation. And another thing, he did put in his book, because I think I read that too, he did put in the book like, he had to, step in, to, stop Abraham from working Selena constantly because, he basically, all Abraham wanted Selena to do was music this, music that, and stuff like that. And he had said that, he did, have to come in and be like, look, Abraham, you need to stop working Selena so much because if you do, you're going to burn her out. And, he just probably just didn't want to lose, like she had said, his golden goose to Chris. So, yeah, I do feel like there are some skeletons in the closet that they don't want the public to know about.
It was even reported that Chris had to fight to be in the front row at Selena's funeral. His wife. I mean, ridiculous. I'm sorry to think that Abraham, yes, saw Selena as his daughter. I'm sure he loved her. But mostly, he saw her as an investment, a property, and a moneymaker. He acts and still acts like a godfather. I mean, the man walk around with his tinted glasses, his pinky ring, big belly. He looks like a godfather. I mean, is he Mexican or Italian? Sometimes I forget. Well, that's it. There isn't anything more. This is something I always wanted to do. Let me know your thoughts below. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Hit that bell so you get notifications for when I do post more videos. Love you all. Bye.
Okay, and that concludes the video. In closing, there are a couple things I want to say. Like, for those of you that don't know, Abraham Quintanilla also wanted to pursue a music career. He wanted to pursue a career in music himself way back in the day because he had started a band with some guys called Los Dinos, which in English means the guys, but they never made it big. And years down the line, he had AB, he had Suzette, and he had Selena, and Selena inherited the music genes and stuff like that. And he formed the band Selena y Los Dinos and stuff like that, and they ended up blowing up. And I just want to say this, in my honest opinion, this is just my opinion, this is not factual. I believe I believe that Selena, people just don't want me to film today, but I do believe that Selena, she never really wanted to pursue a career in music. I believe that it's something that grew on her. That's just my opinion. Because I read somewhere in the book that Selena, when she was alive, she did start a boutique business, and I do believe that, well, I don't believe it, but I had read it in a book. I had read it in that book that Selena's always wanted to start a boutique business ever since she was a little girl, and Abraham always had shot that idea down due to the fact, all he wanted her to do was sing, and she ended up starting the boutique business anyway. So I do believe that she never really strived for a career in music. Is something that grew on her because of her father. Because after all, her father was and still is the main shot caller in the family, pretty much. And as far as Suzette being quote unquote jealous of Selena, I really don't think that is the case, because if that was the case, she probably wouldn't have tried to do stuff back in the day to sabotage Selena, to get fans to hate her, all this and that. Like, I feel like it was just normal sibling jealousy because, siblings gonna be jealous of each other. Like, I was jealous of my sister growing up. My sister was jealous of me growing up. Like, just normal sibling jealousy. I don't think it was nothing major. But I do believe like she probably had and still does have like a little thing for Chris, and he never really saw her in that way. And I feel like there's probably still a little tension there due to the fact, like, why wasn't Chris? Why did you put Selena Quintanilla Perez on the star? And also another thing.